You cannot constantly feed fear and expect peace. You cannot constantly feed distraction and expect focus. And you cannot constantly feed negativity and expect your spirit to stay strong. Because what you feed grows. Your mind is always consuming something. Every single day, something is feeding your thoughts, your emotions, your focus, and your spirit. So the real question is, what has been feeding you lately? For many people, the mind never rests anymore. From the moment we wake up, there is noise, notifications, scrolling, stress, bad news, comparison, pressure. And after a while, people begin to feel mentally exhausted, emotionally drained, and spiritually disconnected. Not because life suddenly changed overnight, but because of what has been consistently entering their mind. Romans chapter 8 and 6 says, "To be spiritually minded is life and peace." Notice that life and peace are connected to what the mind stays focused on. Some are praying for peace while feeding anxiety all day. Some are asking God for clarity while constantly consuming confusion. Some are asking for strength while feeding fear, anger, and negativity. What you feed grows. If you feed worry, worry grows stronger. If you feed fear, fear grows louder. If you feed comparison, insecurity grows deeper. But the opposite is also true. If you feed your faith, faith grows. If you feed your spirit with truth, peace begins to grow. If you spend time in prayer, in scripture, and in the presence of God, your mind becomes steadier. Not perfect overnight, but stronger. Proverbs chapter 4 and 23 says, "Guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it flow the issues of life." In other words, be careful what you allow to enter your heart and mind, because eventually, what enters you begins shaping you. That is why protecting your peace, guarding your attention, and being intentional about what feeds your spirit matters. Not everything deserves access to your mind. Not every voice deserves influence in your life. Some people are overwhelmed because they've consumed too much noise and not enough stillness. Too much fear and not enough faith. Too much distraction and not enough time with God. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is step away from the noise. Pray, breathe, read the Word, sit quietly with God, let your mind reset in His presence. Isaiah chapter 26 and 3 says, "You will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you." Peace doesn't come from consuming everything around you. Peace comes from keeping your mind anchored in God. So today, pay attention to what is feeding your spirit. Pay attention to what is filling your mind. Because whatever consistently enters your spirit will eventually influence your life. What you feed grows. So feed your faith more than your fear. Feed your spirit more than your distractions. Feed your mind with truth instead of negativity. And little by little, you'll notice your peace returning, your focus sharpening, and your spirit growing stronger again. Remember, when you focus on Jesus, everything else becomes clearer. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.